welcome. Please meet Dr. Jasvinder Kaur, a skilled psychiatrist at Kaiser Permanente Riverside. She's dedicated to providing compassionate mental health care. And also please meet Dr. Neela Bhagavatula, a psychology lecturer and adjunct professor at California State University, Long Beach. Together they represent expertise in clinical and psychology care. Give it up for Duke.
Thank you. Okay, so I see this wonderful flyer that the group made there. So you can kind of reference this, and I wanted to talk about, so if you look at the beginning there, just the title itself, right? So overstimulated mind. Most of us don't need a study to tell us that we are overwhelmed. Our phones are buzzing, our group chats are always pinging, the news alerts are flashing, family and work expectations, pile up, you're a student, there's all kinds of things that go on. So this is all while we're also told about all the things that we need to remember to do for ourselves. Don't forget to get enough sleep, don't forget to drink enough water, don't forget to take a break, don't forget, so there's all of that, right? So today, instead of asking, what's wrong with me? Like sometimes we're almost in this feeling where we can't even pinpoint exactly why we may feel adrenaline charged, why we feel stressed, okay? So I think all of us have been in situations sometimes where we're like, why do I suddenly feel tense? Nothing's wrong right now, nothing's going away. And it's almost like you have to step back and think, is there something that I'm supposed to be doing? Something that I should be upset about right now because I kind of feel like that. So we don't have to be. That feeling of high levels of adrenaline, there's a reason that connects to why we're overstimulated now. So one of the things that come up a lot with this generation, not just with South Asian youth, but younger generations, and each generation kind of feels like this about the one after it, is the idea that the generation is fragile or avoids responsibility. And parents will sometimes say, we had it worse, or we didn't talk about trauma, or, you can just say that you're upset about something. You don't have to feel like everything is trauma. These things where it's kind of like a half joke, but then it's rooted, the perception of that is rooted in some kind of reality, right? Like, oh, well, why do you get stressed so easily? Like, I used to worry about things too, but I just got up and did it. Like, we had no choice, those kind of comments. So here's the thing though, so what looks sometimes like previous generations were stronger, like when we think, okay, they just went through it, they did it, is something entirely different. It's more that they had fewer inputs going into their brain every 5 seconds. And if you look here, these news cycles instilling fear, 96 phone checks, social media creating FOMO, these were things that previous generations did not have to face. So ever since the last 20 years, all the 3 generations that are currently here, okay, currently on Surf, you imagine, okay, like there's some more that are even older, but and much younger kids aren't really dealing with social media, like if you're 5 years old. Let's talk about like the core 3 generations. They're trying to regulate a brain that is constantly being pinged, watched, and evaluated. So let's talk about what this generation is doing differently, especially the opening of talks that have come in the South Asian youth. So what I see in so many South Asian youth is not fragility, but a different kind of resilience. There is, first of all, emotional literacy, so actually naming anxiety, depression, and trauma instead of stuffing it. There is better boundary setting. There has been a lot made about how kids today will talk to their parents in a different way about expectations that they can't meet, things like that. The previous generation didn't do. And I don't think that is a negative thing. I think saying no to dynamics that feel harmful is actually quite good for you. And then there's a shift from self-blame. I think this is the biggest thing in this generation, a shift from self-blame to reflective responsibility. So distinguishing what is your role and what is not yours to carry. For those of you who were here for the last talk, and even if you weren't, it's an easy enough term to understand. There's something I talked about called attributions. And attributions are something that we do all the time. It's when you are trying to think about this happened because. Everything results in us making an attribution. Sometimes it's not some big emotional thing, so we don't notice, but it always happens, okay? Like, you come here and you're running late, okay? Like, why? Oh gosh, if I had woken up earlier, or if I hadn't stopped to put in gas, or this. You're making an attribution. Attribution is when you're thinking of a cause for anything. When we're talking about something that is a very innocuous situation, okay? Like you're a few minutes late coming here, not a big deal. But if you're trying to make an attribution for something that is a negative outcome, okay? How come my best friend has not spoken to me well in the last few weeks? She says nothing is wrong, but she speaks to me less. She doesn't respond to me as quickly as she used to. You have to make an attribution. So in the same way we make attributions in that way, when we make these attributions, there are two key dimensions, okay? So why did something happen? Why did my friendship break up? Why did I not get this particular job? Why did I, get turned down from this college? So we make attributions on two key dimensions. One is internal versus external. So internal, is it about me, okay? Was I the cause of this negative outcome? Because ultimately we focus more on negative things that happen. Unfortunately, it's just a thing in life that we focus more on. There's reasons sometimes evolutionarily that have been suggested that looking at negative things allows us to survive. That if we pick up on negative things, then we say, how do I avoid it? Allows us basically to survive for the future. But the cause of it is not the point. The point has been documented that we notice negative things more. So let's focus on when we attribute for negative outcomes, okay? So internal, you think, is it about me, or is it about the situation, the other person's situation, or something totally unrelated to a human, like traffic or something, just bad luck, okay? So internal versus external. And the other dimension is stable versus unstable. Irrespective of what the cause is, whether it's internal or external, you then ask yourself, is it something that can be changed, okay? Well, why is my friend upset with me? Internal cause. It's because lately I've been ignoring her, so now she's upset with me, she feels hurt. That's an unstable cause. You decide, I don't have to keep being like that. I've just been busy for the last few months. So even though I'm the cause, it's an unstable cause, which if it's a negative thing, it's good. We want that lack of stability. Like then you decide, okay, she's upset with me. It'll be okay in a few weeks once I have more time to spend with her. The problem though, is if you add to this logical idea, if you add an overstimulated brain, when you're tired, when you're flooded, when you're out of balance, especially when you're stressed, we do something else, okay? We, instead of trying to find the cause for something, we do something which never really works out for anybody ever in any generation, which is rumination, okay? Rumination is when you dwell upon negative things. And this particular thing I say in class, it's not a long thing, it's just like a simple sentence, but it's wholeheartedly true that when you think of negative things, I promise you, and this has been researched for a while, and social neuroscience now has backed up what was known for a long time, or what was suspected for a long time. I promise you, when you think of negative things, that thought is in your head, your brain feels like it is happening at that moment. So if you don't believe me, you can quickly think of something from the past that actually happened to you. Or you think about something that's right now, okay? It can be happy, it can be sad. Or you think about something in the future, like imagine something good, or something you're worried about coming up. You have to give a presentation in class, you're worried. Imagine, oh, I'm up there. What if it goes wrong? Listen to your body and think about how stressful that feels. So to your brain, it's like it's happening. So when you think, well, I'm just trying to see what I could have done differently. Or, well, I'm just going to think about it now and let it out. It's not good to stifle it. But that rumination is just raising your adrenaline levels more. And we need to be careful not confusing the idea of thinking about something with rumination. Because I know we've all heard, well, it's not healthy to suppress it. No one's asking anybody to suppress things. Huge difference between not having the image in your mind at all versus having it and feeling all the negative emotions as if they are real, okay? So when that's like just a big word to remember, I'm just saying, so we don't want to ruminate. All right, so when we have these negative thoughts, connecting a little bit to the nervous system now and some of the cultural practices and religious things that we had, terms that we had talked about last time, Activity in the brain that is negative links to higher levels of cortisol, which ultimately lead to everything from heart disease to future negative patterns that result in higher levels of depression. So one of the things we talked about last time, before I end with a quick question that is our activity. All right, so last time we started talking about Hindu practices. Oh yeah.
Where's cortisol found in the body?
Cortisol is released by our endocrine system, our adrenal glands, and what I want to quickly say about it, I was going to say it in a few minutes, but since you asked, I'm actually just going to say it now. There is a good feeling of adrenaline that comes, okay, sometimes, and this can be when you are very excited about something. So that feel in your body of just there's suddenly so much energy, okay? That's the feeling. That's cortisol giving you that sense of adrenaline. Sometimes it's negative, but it's the same feeling. If you imagine being in a dark room and suddenly you hear, like you open a dark room in your house and suddenly there's like a loud noise, okay? That sudden feeling that comes like, oh my God, what is that? Oh, nothing, something just fell, okay? The idea of being constantly overstimulated is that we are regularly at that level of adrenaline, which previous generations were not, because there's always something. There's not that moment where you can sit an extended period of time without something happening, okay? Many of us have been in a situation where if it's been a whole day where we didn't respond to a message, people are like, what happened? Hey, just wanted to make sure you got this. Never was this happening, before the age of social media and smartphones. So those of us in the group who are older, not the high school students, we can just attest to that. None of that happened. You would call somebody, sometimes they wouldn't even be like an answering machine. You're like, I don't know what happened to them, okay? So, or if they were late meeting, I don't know, hopefully they get here soon. There wasn't really a quick way to reach people. So that's the idea of the cortisol. When we're talking about overstimulated mind, we're just talking about chronic, however low they are, levels of that at all times. So last time we talked about these Hindu practices of karma and dharma. So I want to quickly, and Sikh practices in Jain as well. So I want to quickly spend refresh a minute on that. So Hindu practices of karma and dharma at their best, they invite this term of reflective responsibility that I was just mentioning a few minutes ago. So karma and dharma, they invite us to ask, what is my duty and how can I act with integrity without endless self-condemnation? So it cuts down rumination. If you think of it like, okay, this happened, but let me focus on the moment and what now can I do? What is my duty right now? And then Sikh practices of say